Hi, this is Doug from Dynamic Computing, and welcome to episode 24 of 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast. This week, why can't we be friends? Now, many of you are aware and possibly even involved with the drama that unfolded in early March with the release of an email from Jens Schoenfeld from Individual Computers in Germany, declaring he was unable to go to the Amiga 34 show event later this year. Now, Individual Computers, if you're not aware, is one of the most prolific creators of hardware for our vintage Amiga and our Commodore 8-bit equipment. Now, I personally own about $500 worth of hardware from Individual Computers, and here's the email in full that started the whole thing off. Hi there. I'm writing to you to inform you that I won't have the money for supporting the Amiga 34 event. Legal confrontation with Cloanto is binding a lot of resources, and I cannot subsidize the Amiga business to that degree. I am therefore asking you take over my part, as I won't be able to pay for Chris Hulsbeck's flight ticket, and I won't be there to sell any goods. I wish you all a good time at Amiga 34. May the Amiga live longer than the ones who are attempting to destroy the market. I will leave the market in the next 12 months. Stock and designs are for sale, ideally to a single entity. Kind regards, Jens Schoenfeld. Sorry, Jens, if I butchered your name. To sum it up, Jens cannot send anyone to the show because of a legal confrontation with Cloanto. And Jens also states that he will be leaving the market within a year because obviously Cloanto is destroying the market. Cue the pitchforks, cue the torches, and let's begin burning Cloanto in effigy. All right, at least that's what happened online after this email was leaked. Responses online seem to be about 80%. I will never give Cloanto another dime, and let's do something to save Jens. Now, more information cropped up when my friend Intricate from AmigaLove.com emailed Jens and received the following response. And I quote, "The Amiga has been an expensive hobby for many years. I thought I'd do the right thing by buying P96, meaning Picasso 96, and honoring the work of Abd and Knir with a high sum." Those are the original writers. Now Cloanto comes along and claims to own practically everything, in quotes, for an 18-year-old payment of just over $1,000 euro. See my addendum to the December news about P96 published yesterday. My inbox is currently exploding. The leaked email was not meant for the public, but only for selected exhibitors of the Amiga 34 show. While I was happy to subsidize the Amiga business these past years with money earned in the telco sector, I am fed up with all the fighting. Yes, the Amiga market has always been toxic, but there's a difference between a few trolls behaving like idiots in forums and a company just causing huge expenses for lawyers because they can. That's purely destructive, and I don't want to be part of that. To clarify my plan, the leaked email is from mid-February. I will watch this until mid-February 2020. If Cloanto has won any of the lawsuits that are currently going on, there will be no more Amiga stuff from me. If the lawsuits are still going on by then, there will be no more Amiga stuff from me. Until then, everything will continue as it did. I'll focus on finishing started designs such as the Indivision AGA MK3 and ACA 1240/1260. Ciao, Jens Schoenfeld. So it seems from this email that the obvious boogeyman here is Cloanto, right? They came gunning after poor Individual Computers with an army of lawyers trying to stop them from doing anything with the 23-year-old Picasso 96 license. Cue the pitchforks, cue the torches, and light the bonfire. I even got on the bandwagon at this point. Not against Cloanto, mind you, but wanting to support Jens. I posted in several places that we should go buy a license for Picasso 96 in order to support his business, and dozens of people did. And they bought some hardware in fear that there would be no individual computers next year. But before I did that, I also sent an email to Mike at Cloanto, who I've heard for years is actually a really nice guy. And Mike and I have been in communication a bit after the last video I did on the Amiga Inc. buyout from Cloanto, and he clarified some things. So here's a recap of my email to him and his response. This is just a part of it, okay? So I asked Mike in an email, "We are a small but vibrant community, and we would love to have a leader stand up and direct the ship. We don't need someone who smashes things like Amiga OS 3.1.4 and Picasso 96 and all of the hardware that Jens creates. I am afraid that your actions are alienating the Amiga community, Mike, and I don't want that to happen between us and the holder of the copyrights of the computer we love. I totally get that legal rights must be respected, and I totally get that you need to make a return on whatever investment you've made in Amiga Inc. But there will be no money to be made if the tens of thousands of dedicated Amiga fans see your company as a villain instead of a savior." So Mike got back to me. He got back to me fairly quickly, and this is summarizing a little bit. He says, "Not Cloanto. Please check the facts. The 3.5 injunction was by the Amiga parties who had previously been sued by individual computers' partner, Hyperion. Coincidence, in parentheses, they share the same lawyer." That's important. "As for Picasso 96, we added this footnote after some public accusations emerged. Again, you better know the people and the motivations, and you are welcome to form your own opinion." And in a follow-up email the next day, he says, "I made a mistake too. I double-checked the 3.1.4 case, and I see that for this, Hyperion first got a cease and desist notice by Amino." This is the former Amiga company from Washington, which was first of the Amiga companies to be active after they all got sued by Hyperion, who is lawyer-owned and the real litigious entity here, in my opinion, Mike says. That led to a suspension of sales, and upon resuming Amiga Inc., the Delaware entity, which was brought back in good standing after Hyperion sued it, and the others together sent another cease and desist. Hyperion was the one who sued these companies first, though. Only later came the preliminary injunctions by all companies together. I'll get back to this in a second. Now, Mike also, after what happened the other day, he released a string of emails from 2001 showing that he bought the rights to use the current version of Picasso 96 with his Amiga Forever software for $1,000 or so. The email seemed pretty cut and dried. He can use the software all he wants, but they do not include upgrade rights, which sounds a lot like he has unlimited use, but the end user is not entitled to unpaid upgrades, and Mike cannot use a newer version than the one he licensed. It's also quite interesting that the lawyer for individual computers is the same that Hyperion uses. That's really interesting. Further information reveals that it was Jens who instigated the legal issue with Cloanto regarding the use of Picasso 96, not the other way around. Okay? Apparently, Jens was not in agreement that Cloanto could use Picasso 96, which Jens now legally owns, and got the lawyers involved to stop Cloanto from using the software. Okay, what a mess. To summarize, the awful legal mess between Hyperion and the original Amiga Inc. started back in the early 2000s and created the legal fiasco between Hyperion and Amiga Inc. To be honest, it really seems that Hyperion was the main aggressor here and acted in bad faith. There's full details about this sordid affair. It's documented in the Amiga Documents, which I will link to in the description. Read them. It's like a 5-minute read. It's really interesting stuff. Now, this mess continued up until the latest legal battles between Amiga Inc. and Cloanto and Hyperion a few months ago. Now, I did a video about that. You can go back and take a look at that video too. and it seemed to result in Cloanto acquiring the rights to the Amiga copyrights. We could all agree to that. Cloanto now owns most of the Amiga copyrights. Now, Hyperion and individual computers have the same lawyer. Mysterious. And it almost appears that the Picasso 96 attack was used as a bit of revenge or a bit of leverage against Cloanto for taking over the Amiga Inc. copyrights. Was the email leaked, in quotes, in order to make Cloanto look bad? Stranger things have happened. Page 3. Why is the Amiga community so up in arms about this? I mean, after all, it's been dead for 25 years. Why should we care? Let us just play our, computers in peace. To be honest, I think many of us with our fingers on the pulse of the Amiga community are a bit gun-shy, okay? For years, we've heard almost nothing from the Amiga rights holders except lawsuits, countersuits, and bad blood, okay? So the moment we heard that one of our favorite vendors was under attack, being individual computers, many of us naturally assumed it was just more of the same. Digging a little deeper, we find this may not quite be true, and is possibly just the opposite of what we assumed. But why did we assume this? Lack of communication. That's why. Almost all of the information we received about the official Amiga properties is through rumor and innuendo, and has been for years. There was not any official statement of a position by the Amiga property owners when Amiga OS 3.1.4 came out stating that it was not legal. So we assumed it was. And the first official bit of information we received was the cease and desist, the whole lawsuit thing that we saw a couple of months ago. But what if this was handled a different way? Okay? Many people had known about the new OS for months before it came out. What if Amiga Inc. had reached out to users and explained that it was not an official release? The court of public opinion can be very, very strong. And we could have chosen to vote with our wallets and not purchase the software. But we didn't have any of that information at all. Nothing, not a peep, not a whisper. As users, all we saw was a company that we knew handled Amiga OS 4.1 come out with a really cool new product for our beloved machines. They communicated, Hyperion communicated this information to us. And we, in the community, we ran with it. We promoted it. We encouraged hundreds of people to buy it. I myself did many successful videos about Amiga OS 3.1.4, and I love the software and I enjoy the software. I purchased 2 copies of it, and I hope to purchase more. Now, I've said this before, there is money to be made still with the Amiga. Thousands of people gladly part with thousands of dollars for new hardware and software for our old 68K and our PowerPC machines. Nobody's going to become a multimillionaire, that's not going to happen, but there is money to be made. What needs to be done is for someone to get out in front of this. Don't force us to subsist on rumors and innuendos. Talk to us about a plan, explain who owns what, and embrace those who still support the platform. Embrace them. Don't isolate them. Obviously, I am speaking about Cloanto here as they are the Amiga rights holder now. Now, here's a case in point about communication. The 64 Mini, okay, we've all heard of it. It's a wonderful piece of hardware. I own one and I enjoy it, and it seems to be selling okay. But did you know Cloanto licensed the ROMs for it? It's right there in the C64 Mini package. You see their name right on there. Why isn't he shouting this from the rooftops to promote the fact that they're still publishing and licensing this software? And it seems like something to be proud of, and yet nothing. I'd never heard anything from Cloanto saying, hey, check out this new product that we're licensing. Obviously they're not making it, but they're licensing the software for it. The Amiga and the Commodore community is pretty tight-knit online, and word travels incredibly fast. And so just give us words about what's happening, and we will spread those words. There is a lot more to this story. and I want to try and continue to cover it in a fair and balanced way. Now, Mike has told me an announcement is coming, hopefully within the next week or two. And if you take a look at the www.amiga.com website, it even has a little teaser message on it now that wasn't there before. Who knows what the announcement will be, but hopefully it will be positive news that moves our community in a positive direction. In the meantime, when we see something online, take a deep breath and think about it and do some investigating before jumping to conclusions too fast. And yes, that is a hard thing to do, very hard thing to do. Now, I only want the best for individual computers. I want Jens to continue to create and innovate for our community, and I will continue to buy his cool and innovative products. My message to Jens is not to get bogged down in the middle of a nasty legal battle. Look what it did to Amiga Inc. in the past 15 years. Nothing good came out of it. If you can make a deal with the legitimate holders of the Amiga copyrights, do it. Okay? If we need to pay an extra $10 or $15 on some of your products because you have to make a deal for licensing, we'll pay an extra $10 or $15. I guarantee we will pay an extra $10 or $15. We need people like Jens in this community, and we need to continue to support him. Okay? I also only want the best for Cloanto. I've had some issues with their business model of just repackaging the free Vice and free WinUAE emulators and not really innovating. But I've worked past those personal issues. Those were my issues with it, and I've worked past those. And now that Mike has possession of the legal rights to Amiga, talk to us, okay? Interact with us on social media so we don't have to guess and spread rumors. Open a channel for us for official news and information about your intentions and your new power and what you're going to do with it. License the Amiga logo and representations for things like t-shirts, coffee cups, mouse pads, to make a little bit of coin for yourself. Officially licensed product would be really cool. Start an Indiegogo campaign if you need to raise capital for a real product, and a real product would be really cool. We will support you. Many of us will support you. And do not leave us in the lurch with Amiga OS 3.1.4. It is a good product. It is a great product. And it's made for free by really good people. If you truly own the rights to it, reach out to the authors of the software. They're really good people. Build goodwill by paying the authors and coming out with, say, Amiga OS 3.2 and offering it as an inexpensive $20 upgrade to those who bought 3.1.4, just to cover your costs and the costs of giving a few bucks to the guys who wrote the software. That would be a decent thing to do, and that would go a long way towards building up goodwill and swinging public opinion to your side, okay? And Hyperion, if you're listening to this, if even half of what you did legally to Amiga Inc. over the years is true, even half of it, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Truly ashamed for doing this to the community. My advice is to back down gracefully. Transfer the rights for Amiga OS 4.1 and Amiga OS 3.1.4 to who really owns them, and then move forward with a clear conscience. Do the right thing, okay? I'm not a corporate shill for anybody, okay? But I do want the truth to finally come out and come to the surface so we all know where we stand. I love the Amiga platform, and it has stubbornly refused to die even 25 years after its death. From here on, let's look at the Amiga situation with new eyes and a positive outlook. Let's hope that the new owners of the Amiga name can do the same. This is Doug from Dynamic Computing and 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast, signing out.